Well, would you look at this? I was just about ready to publish this video when Robert Poole sent over a couple of new watch face designs. SmartWatch Ticks presents, drum roll please, da 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 da. Yeah, he's got the same one that runs on the KW88 and the Finau style of watches. If you haven't seen Robert's review of his watch faces yet, take a look and check the show notes down below because he's converted them all over to run on the Finau and #1 watches as well as the IQI and KW88 watches. Whole lot of good stuff here. All right, on with today's show. Greetings and welcome back to SmartWatch Ticks. Wow, we got a big video for you today, and we're just about reaching saturation. You're looking at 3 different watches here, representing at least 2 different platforms upon which customized watch faces can be produced and posted. And we are full up, I tell you. Up until now, it's been pretty easy to review these because there was really only one watch face platform worthy of showing these things off on, and that was what we call the Finau and #1 class of watch faces. And we've been doing monthly reviews of the custom designed watch faces for these particular watches, of which I've already begun now showing you the parade of watch faces that designers have created for the month of November 2016. Yeah, I'm that far behind already. We are almost into February right now, 2017. These are designer watch faces, and you can see a designer gets an idea and then plays around with it, modifies it, and has some fun with it, and comes up with options that are pretty cool. Now, these watch faces that you're seeing on this Finau X5 Plus, and there's a lot of them, are going to be the ones that you'll be able to get access to by looking in the show notes down below this video. In there, you'll find a zip file that you can download, and what you'll find inside the zip file is a bunch of little cards. Each card's got the image of the watch face you're seeing here. It's got the name of that watch face, and the name is also in the title of the watch face as well, or of the little card. You get all that stuff, and in addition to the picture, there'll be a link, and that link will take you to a special page in the G+ community forum for round Android smartwatches. Now, that forum covers not only these kind of watch faces, but the kind that run on a different type of Android watch. We call them the KW88 watch faces. Look at that. Look at the detail in there. Isn't that sweet? Those other kind of watch faces, that's what these 2 watches I'm going to be talking about in a minute with you will demonstrate. So that G+ forum is really rich with possibilities. Isn't that cool? And I know I go through these and I don't show you the names or talk about the authors or any of that stuff. It's just too much now. But you will be able to find all of these images, and from the image that you see in that zip file down there, you can backtrack to the name of it, go to the link. The link is posted by the developer, and oftentimes the developer discusses the look at this, it's way before Christmas now. We're in November, but nonetheless, there's a nice Christmas face. It lists the name of the author, and it also shows you any information they want to tell you about it. And we really, really make sure that the watch face developers put the right information up there. So if they've borrowed the design from somebody, they are giving credit to who that is. If it's a company like Bell & Howell, you're seeing we've got different, or Bell & Ross, right? You're getting different information about how you can go to their website as well. So each of these watch faces has a robust description about the background, and they have a comment section down below. And people are encouraged to leave comments about the different watch faces that they see. That's pretty unique. Haven't seen one like that before. Awesome, huh? So what you're seeing here is just kind of the surface overview of what they look like on an actual watch. And that's good because that gives you an idea of whether or not you're interested in actually diving in and picking a few of these to download for yourself and put on your watch. And there are a bunch of them. This month we've got quite a few. Again, these run on special Android 4.4 and Android 5.1 watches, which have been released by, I guess you could say, 3 different companies we know of. Finau is one of the main ones. They have the original X1, then they have the X3 and the X3 Plus, the X5, the X5 Plus, the Q1, the Q1 Plus, and then there's some Square watches too, or is it the Q3, Q3 Plus? I don't You guys know them. There's a lot of different watch faces out there that run these watch faces on their watches from Finau. That's pretty much, this stuff works on all of the Finau. It also works on the #1 brand watches, which are like the D5, and then the Square D6 and the S6. We got Donald Duck, whose face is covered, right? I tell you what, I'm going to change the time on this, and then we'll come back and show it to you a little bit better. There, that's better. All right, and it's got the pulsing foot. Isn't that cool? Nice design. Again, check the show notes to get the link to that watch. Here's another one. And another one with some crazy hands going on it. All right, as I was saying, these will only run on certain watches. Wow. If you've got a different Android watch, we'll talk about those in a minute, but like for the Kingwear or ZGPAX or IQI, those use a different style. These are not the watch faces that will work on those watches. We get a lot of questions about that, and I try to answer them if I can. And if I don't answer them, it's because I'm overloaded and it's already been answered. So look around. If your question doesn't get answered in a while, check and see if it's already been asked and answered many times by other people. That's elaborate. You could just spin forever on this. This is a kind of a face that looks excellent on a really large platform watch like this one. You have that on, you go out running around with it playing, and boy, you'll definitely get some attention, wouldn't you? A lot of detail. That's another thing. The watch faces you're seeing here, and the ones that we've been doing for months now, are there's a good watch engine in here. You can do a lot of really creative things with it, way beyond simple like this. You know, when you have just a background and 3 hands and maybe a date, that's pretty simple. But that other one we just saw incorporates a lot of the different features that this watch engine has built into it that let you get very, very creative. The other watch faces that we have installed on the, we call them the KW88 class of watches, those are very limited. You really, and the ones I'm just now showing could probably convert nicely to them, because you look for the characteristic of just a background and 3 hands, and maybe a date window. A little tough to get the date working, but it's possible. But 3 hands, a background, and a date are something that could work well on the KW88 type of a watch. That should be able to port easily over to it if someone's interested. So some of what you see here will work well. Some, like this one with the Nixie tubes, they haven't figured the engine out, or it's just plain not going to support it. So it has to run on this kind of a watch. So when you're deciding on which watch you want to buy, and if you're interested in having watch faces, you may want to think about whether you're getting it from one class of watch style or another. And again, the ones from Finau, #1, I mentioned there were 3 companies. The third one has just a tiny penetration, and that's Lemfo, L-E-M-F-O. They have a watch called the Lem 5, which is very, very similar to this one, that also runs this watch face engine on it. Okay. It's a nice clean white watch. The PPW series. We have the date off on an angle down here. It gets a little washed out because of the lighting if the background's dim, but it's there. There you go. All these little sub hands, most of the time on these watches, they work. The other ones, like I said, that don't have much capability, the little windows may be there, but they're probably static. They're not moving that much. Good, clean watch face designs here. Slightly different styles being demonstrated. And lots of them. Now, the way these are sorted and shown on the watch is in alphabetical order. That's not the way they're posted on the G Plus community. Now, you can certainly follow the link directly to the G Plus community, or you can Google it, look for G Plus, what is it, round Android smartwatch. Those are like the key words, and you can come up with that community on your own. But however you get there, when you start to look through the watch faces, they're just hodgepodge. They're put up there whenever the artist is finished with them by whatever name they've decided to call them. When they're paraded here on our video, they are sorted in alphabetical order, which is why, that's nice, isn't it? Now, we've seen that kind of a Paris watch on the KW88 class. So it's interesting. We're starting to see some crossover going. The sorting is different. Alphabetical here, of course, and however they show up over there. But the zip file with the links in them will take you directly to the posting of this watch face. So in order to really search Google Plus community, you need to know the name of the watch face, and you can also get that directly from this zip file. So if you're lost and you don't know how to go, just use a zip file down below. This one I'm about to touch, we have missed this one. Andrew has wanted this to be part of our, oh, look at that, cool. To be part of our review for, I think, 2 or 3 months, and for some reason, it's always been left out. So I made an effort to, for sure, get it included this time. It's the original Pong made into a watch face using the watch engine inside of here, where the time you see is the ball going back and forth. And the date is up here, 31 of January. And its player is Tuesday. Cute. Thank you, Andrew. Very nice. All right. Some more. Using interesting font styles for the digital characteristics. We see some of that going on from time to time. Another take on the same kind of a watch face. Aha! There you're getting a nice, plain, classy design with a little splash of color. Looks really good on this black band. Again, a slightly different take. And in purple, little purple hue in this one. So you really can do some fashion design choosing a really nice watch. I personally like the all black because then you can do a lot with the watch face for accent. Matches anything. This is very subdued color on here, but it is coming through. By the way, I have the lighting set to about medium. Now this is one, and we have all different designers, some beginners and some advanced, but you see the background image disappeared on this watch from what we expected it to be. That sometimes happens, a little typo, something. Here's another take on Beam Me Up, Scotty. There's Spock being beamed in a transporter. It's just amazing what can be done with a clock engine that you figure was just going to be for telling time. Battery, I don't have the weather activated, but the temperature would be up there. Your step count, all sorts of stuff. This one, I think somebody dropped the watch on the floor. It's supposed to be one of these fancy dial kind of things, but yeah, it's not quite lined up right. That one didn't work. Okay. Maybe that's actually telling time. But I got a feeling that this was a work in progress that was probably posted asking for help. And I just go through and grab whatever's there. And you get to see it and play with it. Because sometimes, oh, wow, cool. We have an emergency, it looks like, going on. Sometimes it's more fun to take something and modify it a little bit. Play with it on your own. See what you can do with it. And this one's got a lot of thought behind it. Obviously one of the starships with, looks like a diagnostic thing running. Another nice little digital. Some wabbits. This one's moving in the middle. The time at the bottom. And I believe these are our last ones. We're in the V. Okay, we got, looks like battery percent as well as date. Oh, and a happy face. Watchman. You see how you can kind of get the illusion of a reflection off of a glass bevel or something over the top by being creative with the background images? Yeah. Some wood grain. The date being blocked a little bit by the hand right now. You like to set the time to 10:10 when you take a static picture, but when we're doing a movement like this over time, it creeps, so we have to go back and keep changing the time a little bit. That's a vivid purple. MS-DOS. Sure enough. Time, date, system info, battery, temperature. Okay. Another way of telling time. And then tick-tock. 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 And that's the last one, because after this I go into the stock ones that were already on here. So for November 2016, these are the watch faces that have been custom designed to run on the Finau and #1 class of smartwatches. Now we're going to change gears and move over to different designs for a different class of watch. And that, well, now we got another little problem. I can show you, but I can't tell you anything about this watch. This is another one of these watches that's come in for review. And actually, I've completed the review on this watch, but I can't show it to you yet. You see, they don't want me to demo watches that aren't in the distribution chain yet. And this falls in that category. It's an incredible watch. It's beautiful. Look at that. I can't tell you. I'm giving you a review, but anyway, they didn't say I couldn't use it to demo watch faces. So lucky you get to see a few watch faces on this watch, which will be reviewed soon. No, I can't tell you the name. No, I can't tell you where you can buy it because you can't yet. It's not in the distribution channel. But I will tell you this, it's in the same class as the KW88, and it runs the watch faces that are designed to be installed as APK files, just like on the original KW88. This is one of the last of the stock faces I put on here just before I go into this category. Now, what you're about to see, and you've seen some of these before. Let's start them, and then I'll talk about them as we go. the KW88 class of watch faces and the watch faces that designers have posted on the G Plus forum, the same forum I was talking about with the other watch faces. Those are all here being displayed on this watch from the very first ones. Now, again, they're in alphabetical order, but from the very first ones all the way through the end of 2016 are in this parade of watch faces. And I'm doing this because we're not going to be doing this anymore. I just want to show you once so you have it all in front of you to see what these different watch faces look like as designed for that class of watch. Now, why aren't we going to do this every month like the other ones? I'll get to that, but let me point out something. A lot of what you're going to see here are watch faces where the background maybe was copied from something. There were squares where there might have been a day of a week and the numerical date, but they're empty. That's because this watch face engine, remember, is not as robust as what we saw on the other watches. So when you see things like that, where it's either empty or it's the wrong date, it's because it's just a flat picture holding the background. Empty, you see? So being more of a watch perfectionist that I am, I'm not really happy seeing a lot of these watch faces that are kind of just copies of existing flat watch pictures. And it's sad because there's not the opportunity to do much creativity. There's a little second hand going around there. Can I make this a little brighter? Yeah, I can. Oh, you saw me do something. Well, very similar to what you've seen on other watches. It's just that the watch design is pretty unique. 3-button. It's going to be a sweet watch. Anyway, there we go. Oh yeah, you see the little dot there. I usually try to get rid of that. Let's see if I can make that go away. Hello, dot. There we go. That dot is from an app called Floating Toucher that I use in all my different watches. It throws a overlay on here that you can launch apps and do other things. And it leaves a little dot on the screen. So just for the sake of seeing the watch faces, I'll take it off. Now that one in particular on this watch itself, I think is outstanding. Isn't that sweet? That's a keeper. That's, yeah, that looks good. What's it called? Brashida. You notice that on these watches, you have the name there available for you, at least the first 11 characters of it. And that's kind of nice. It's a different way of portraying it in that you can actually identify and locate it later if you want. Here's some more. These, again, are all watch faces that have been designed. Wow, I love that one. I think we've seen that one before as well. And posted on the G Plus community. Now, do I have the elaborate zip file with all of the links directly to the show, to the postings for each of these? No, I don't. Because really, there's not hundreds of them. There's what you're going to see here in this parade of faces. These are all of the ones since they began creating them up until the end of 2016. So it won't take you terribly long to go through them one by one, and in each of the postings you see the picture, and you have the link for doing the download directly there. So the zip file is going to pertain to this other style, not to this style, all right? Nonetheless, here are a variety of the different watch faces. And we are going to be here a while today because there's quite a few of these as well. Here it is in white. There's a comic one, very vivid, bright colors. These really pop on those AMOLED screens like this. I almost said the name. I got to play the review for you soon. I really do. I'm waiting for everybody to get back from the Chinese New Year's celebration because nobody's at the desk, to help out on any of this. And although I know they're getting this watch in the pipeline very soon, and this one, got to show you this one. I'm sorry, I'm deviating a little bit, but oh my gosh, look at this. This is the same watch as this. It's the same watch. It's a different way of displaying it. Look at the bezel. Check it out. No, I can't tell you about that one either. Although I can tell you that I've seen this one already in the pipeline. It's on pre-order, this one. This one. Anyway, coming soon, very much soon. Tell your friends to subscribe as well. If you haven't, definitely do, because I'm hoping the next video will be the review of this watch. And that should be as soon as next week. So they are really ready to start selling this watch. I got to get my color correction back. There we go. There. Color balance on cameras has still got a ways to go. They tend to shift sometimes, especially when you do different colored watch faces and it tries to balance off of that. Here we go. These are all the DD watches. A new developer out there, DD. Definitely check those out. Electroluminescent. Now, this is more vivid in real life than you're seeing on the TV here. That's green, light green against a blue background. It really looks like that old electroluminescent watch faces of the past. Here's another subtle way of doing hands that disappear. Face black, flow blue, like fluorescent blue. Flow green. All right, now, going to have another little talk with you while we're looking at these. Another reason that we're only going to do this once and do it now for all of the watch faces developed to date for the KW88 class watch is that Kingwear, the makers of KW88, have released an over-the-air update, an OTA firmware update. You may get that notice if you have a KW88. And they've done two things, at least so far to date. The first thing, good news, is they modified the watch face process in here. So isn't that nice, the gold? Yeah. So when you press and hold, you get these thumbnails, and if you scroll all the way over to the very end, you get a plus sign. We've seen that on the Finau type watches, that you could do that. And it accesses a server when you hit that plus sign that lets you download additional watch faces that they maintain on the server. So they can change them out and add to them over time. That's great. You have not been able to do that on the Kingwear KW88 before. The bad news is, everything you're looking at, ever since I started this with this watch, all these designer watch faces no longer run on the Kingwear KW88. The implementation of how they modified things makes this process of installing an APK file and just running it, and all of a sudden the watch face is available to you. It doesn't work anymore. Not at all. That's really, really subtle, this one. Very, very dark. Good night watch, though. So, showing you this as the last time is a way of archiving in history of what once was, for a span of, 6 months, in the world of developing Chinese Android watches, because most likely that update from Kingwear is also going to be pushed out to all the other watches that use the same kind of implementation of Android 5.1. That being the iQi for the i2, the i3, that being ZGPAX, that being ZBlaze, all of the companies other than number one and Finau that use this Sinware version of software could get that update. Here again, see, there's all these nice boxes that are just empty. To me, it's like, what happened? Who pulled out the insides of the watch? I don't like it. I would rather see this photoshopped out if somebody was going to modify this. Anyway. Okay, well, there's a lot of these, so I'm going to push through them. They're the same design, but with different backgrounds. Metal, blue. Again, that whole same background, just playing with the colors. So while this goes through, I'll continue my little dialogue on the KW88 class of watches. If you do not accept the over-the-air update, then you'll have the opportunity to continue loading these watch faces up, obviously, because your firmware will not change. However, if you do accept that update and you find that all your little APK files, all your watch faces that you installed don't run anymore, well, you can grab your tissue and cry just like all the rest of us that did that. Actually, the rest of them. I heard about it and I have not updated my KW88, but I wanted to show you this stuff on a different watch. Anyway, this watch falls into that same grouping, and it's working now. When the production unit comes out, I'm not sure what version of firmware will be on it, but hopefully it'll give you at least the option to keep this capability if you want. Now, there's nothing saying that an outcry from the public, hello, public, are you there? A good outcry from you guys could influence the watch company to bring back this capability, or it just could be an engineering oversight that messed up when they implemented it, and the next update will fix it. But either way, it's not going to be there now. So if you want to have access to these really nice designer watch faces that you're seeing here, do not update your Android watch. Definitely a Kingwear watch, and most likely the others as well, until you know for sure that that update won't make these things void. There's that one that we just saw over on the other watch, isn't it? Looks very similar. All right, we're down to the P's. I'll keep moving here. Now, this is another good reason to follow that G Plus community for watch faces. Because in addition to seeing these different watch faces, the guys there are reporting back on their results of doing firmware updates and stuff, and what effect it's had on the watch face capability across the board, all the different companies. If that isn't enough, there's actually, for a more technical overview, a thing called the Proboards. And I'm going to have links to both these, the G Plus community and the Proboards, down in the show notes below. Because those are things you want to be, you want to bookmark them, you want to belong to them, you want to follow them. The Proboards is where the big boys are. That's where the really detailed stuff like flashing firmware comes up. By the way, if you do accidentally accept the over-the-air update and you lose this capability, as far as I understand, the only way to get it back is going to be to actually go and flash the old KW88 firmware. Again, there's a really pretty watch face on this particular watch. So you want to become a member of the Proboards. It's free. You join it, set up a username, and then you can peruse and learn about your specific watch, about all these firmware issues, anything else that could be affecting your watch. It's just good to belong to that. If you're just a casual watch user and you're not going to get into all that, you just want a watch on your arm, well, you may not be watching this video anyway. But if you are, because you want these watch faces, well, heed my words of what I was talking about of avoiding any kind of an update to your watch. A lot of times they're to fix security patches. You see that on your phone all the time. In this case, I think the only change has been with respect to that issue on changing how they handle these watch faces. So you might want to skip this one and wait to find out if a future one brings everything back. There's a little spaceship going around. Fun for kids. We're down in the S's now. This one, it says test, but actually this is one of my favorites. This is like the original plain watch face that came with the as stock with a lot of the original watches long time ago. It's another with a lot of detail in it. So in terms of stuff coming up, like I said, this is the November review, really, of the Finau and number 1 watch faces, and the lifetime review from beginning to current of this style of watch faces. And then we'll probably do one more for the December watch faces for the Final and #1 style. Since everything is changing so radically, it's just not possible to keep up with all these different changes, especially when the watch companies take away the capability to even put them on. All right, these are the custom watch face designs that you install as an APK file, and you download them from the G Plus community in the section that's related to the KW88 watches, all right?